to try and get £1,000 towards Christmas present. It's as simple as that, really.
Okay. Proposer?
Yeah. Second.
And second, all those in favour? Free money?
I've sent another one round today for you to all look at as well.
Very good.
Jenna, just sorry, a question on that one. So we can apply twice a year. Is it like every 6 months or
Just twice every year.
just twice in a year?
But there's other grants and funds as well that I'm looking at.
I'd like to do the entrance before I quit this council. That horrible
I'm not applying for anything.
decorated.
Sorry, Joe.
You know, some kind of murally thing that done by the kids, and you could have some money towards that.
And a proper reception.
It's the worst entrance I've ever
Yeah.
seen in my life. It just,
Yeah.
oh, every time I
You'll
come
be
in.
back into Fantasyland, eh?
What?
To the
£1,000, we could do a real Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen on it for that.
Thank you. That's okay.
Okay, next item is grant request. 14 months, receive a request for consideration to support with a donation to Brownies under section 137 grants. And this is
That's how much we've currently got left in that pot.
no,
Just so you know.
we have got three grand left in the grants section pot.
Under the
They've
budget.
asked for, in there, that's about £200.
I think that's just the total stand which goes into the
It's under the clerk's notes at item 41.
That's how much the amount is.
No, £830. Their rent will have paid by the end of the year will be £830. As a charity, we fundraise and try to keep the weekly contributions to the families to a minimum. Anybody got any idea? Yeah.
So just question, so at the moment in the church, aren't they? On the churches. So, reading between lines here, they're asking to come to a parish council building.
Under this agenda item, they're just asking for some funding.
Okay.
They're just telling us that they pay £8 a year, but they're asking for some grants and things.
So my recommendation would be that we try and get them to a council building at subsidised rent, rather than giving the money to
Oh, right, yeah,
pay
that's what
towards
you're saying.
the church.
We don't have space for it.
Well, not wanting to be negative towards the Brownies, but if we were to give a financial contribution, right, we get the same request from the scouts, the guides, and everything else, and suddenly we haven't got any of that £3,000 left at all. Because if you set a precedent, it's then difficult to not go along with it for somebody else. Just a thought on that in terms of
There is an email copy on the scale.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Everybody's skint.
It's not, yeah, but if you open the gate.
Yeah, it's just tweaked then. However, we have just been talking about the youth
Yeah,
crime
yeah,
relief.
yeah.
And the Brownies, I suppose the Brownies are slightly younger, but the Brownies and the clubs are youth provision in the village, and maybe we should support them if it keeps more people from holding abuse.
Yeah,
For now,
we
anyway.
definitely want more activities for kids. So
Yeah, but I agree that it does, to set precedents and behind it.
Because it links, but it doesn't quite, because then there's the new structures that can't remember exactly the original update from when that might have happened.
There is one on the agenda. They are looking so sorry. Both Scouts and Brownies eventually are asking to use Strata. We don't have enough room here to facilitate a regular session, and we don't have the storage that Brownies and Scouts need, which is why they're interested in building. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, and I believe that the church have recently, where the Scouts and Brownies are, have recently put their rights up. I think someone just said that. So I think that's causing challenge.
I mean, the church obviously is a business, isn't it? And they have sort of office as well. So if they're a landlord putting up their rents, should the parish council be subsidising them?
Well, as a potential proposal, could we contribute the difference between what we would charge them at subsidised rent to what they would charge church? So they get our rate, but we're not facility.
I'm not overly keen on giving the money towards rent just for the reasons you suggest. I mean, is a better option to donate to for equipment or something like that, which is going to ease their burden some other way. So it's more of a tangible gift to them rather than a monetary donation. I see it just lands better, I think, as a message.
So you're proposing that we write to them and say that if they could contact us with funding of some equipment?
If there's something they need, yeah.
I mean, my proposal would be we write to Parish Council and say that we can't meet this request, but in the future we can look at options for accommodating them in the quarries, in the quarries community centre, and if they've got specific requests for equipment, to send that in for the they could send that in as a gesture of goodwill, if you like.
We could say we have special lots of funding available to help.
Yeah.
Well, there was some other funding, I think, weren't there, for local community groups? And of course they are local community groups from Wakefield Council.
Yeah,
about £1,500.
Yeah.
we could try and see what funding Wakefield offer and put them in touch with Wakefield.
Well, Nova do that kind of funding, don't they? So we could put in touch with Nova from Wakefield Council. And now Wakefield Council is Nova, which is funding all the community groups, so we could do that. So,
I mean, it's only £27 of revenue, so it's not that much as individuals have been asked if we're asking people who attended to contribute it to it. So I would agree with John, because I think there'll be knock-on requests. And I think we should say, yes, we'll look at to reduce rent in our building.
Well, if it's £27 each, that's 50p a week. It's not a great deal.
Sorry.
maybe if they wanted to send a representative to come to talk to the clerk and maybe the chair.
You've got a whole load of
I know
you say, can you
So, can I propose then we send a letter in response to this saying that we can't make this request, but we're interested in supporting the group, and we can put them in touch with Nova or Wakefield Council for grant funding, and we would look at providing some kind of future accommodation for them at the quarries, which they've already been in touch with about that. Have you got that? Is there a second for that proposal? So we'll take your pick.
Very Susie,
All those in favour then? Thank you. Right, so we don't want to give any money to anybody. So the next item.
We set the precedent.
So we don't like old people, we don't like young people. Receive a request for consideration to support with a donation to Ackworth Senior Citizens Fund under Section 137 grants. Now, historically, every year we have given £2,500 to the senior citizens Christmas get-together. My suggestion this year, because we're not exactly flush, is that we ask a representative from the senior citizens group to talk to us about what exactly they need, and because they have funds in the senior citizens bank accounts, and rather than just repeat it every year giving them 2,500 quid.
That's fine, right. So that's how much they've got in the bank, and that's on average how much it costs. If you do, it's up to you to share that, obviously.
Well, they've got nearly £5,000 in the bank, and the actual cost of the event is 1,600 quid. So if we give them another 2,500 quid, they're going to have
I've been to all the banks. I've been to all the banks.
So we've been topping up their bank account.
Can we just go at the cost of the event?
Well, my suggestion, my proposal is that we ask a representative from the senior citizens group, which would be Sue.
I'm going to say, grill those pensioners.
Well,
them in.
just to see how we can move it forward. We do offer other things to the senior citizens. I think at the moment, because we're not flush, then.
And I think if we're going to grill the children of the brownies, it's a bad show if we don't. goes to the end of the selection as well.
In 60 years, they'll all be old age pensioners, mate.
Well, it's around us again.
Is the
No,
government
no,
work
no,
action?
it'll be second.
So the proposal is, I'll probably ask for a representative to talk about it. Because I think that, you know, every year they'll get to their AGM or their meeting and say, we put a request into Ackworth Parish Council and they've always given us this money. But if it's just that, then we can quite reasonably say.
I think it's a good thing to fund, and we should definitely fund it, but we shouldn't over
Yeah.
fund
So let's discuss it.
it's more than it's actually costing, isn't
So
it?
the proposal on the table is we write to and ask them to meet with us and talk about it. So there's a second after that. This is Councillor Hall. All those in favour? Oh, thank you.
What else would they use their funds for?
Did what, sorry?
What else would they use their funds for? Could have been having
I do know the answer to that. No, is that okay? That they don't use and it stays in the bank account, but they don't use. So if, for example, they were to fold tomorrow, that money would come back to us. Well, we're the biggest contributor, so the majority. That's why we ask for the bank statements.
Yes.
Fund a rave every year upon fee.
Check. Can I just check that action? So it's to ask a representative to attend. Is that the next parish council or me to speak to
I meant
me?
to speak to you
To speak.
and maybe the chair.
Me. So it's to representative to basically invite them in for a meeting
Yeah.
for the clerk.
To clarify.
To clarify, and you might need to retake that vote just because of that bit.
We're all okay with that, yeah?
Sorry, you know I'm a stickler for procedure. Got to get the instruction right.
Okay. The next item is previously deferred from the last meeting because of the elections. It is to appoint any new committees or propose changes to existing committees, including any restructure of current setup. While you're reading this, can I just be excused? Defer myself.
It's getting warm. I'm hoping the as well. And I've worn my best impression of being a juice now. It's not fun, but
I'm more confused. Is that
Working.
It's working.
Oh, working.
Yeah, you can see the colour it's working group. It's that typical shades of grey. But only 3, not 50.
That's it, alright. Okay, so a lot of it's a subcommittee.
that's my fault. I did this in May and then I changed it to black and white packs, didn't I, because of the cost. So I will not colour code things moving forward.
I can't remember, it's sort of confused on it as well we were. So this revised structure, it does mean that if, is this what we're agreeing today?
Yeah, you might need to wait this for John.
All right,
It's a specific question. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm happy to
I was
answer
checking
the
the
questions, but
I
I'd
was
like for
thinking you
John.
had jumped ahead of where I thought we were.
There's been that many versions of it, maybe, I don't know, but we'll clear it up in a minute. I just knew I could answer the colour coding one easily.
Oh, that's all.
We'll actually just pass these round. This one's not until agenda item 15.4. It's just to remind people who's on committees currently. It'll be easier than sitting here trying to read it out. This one's just for a later agenda item. I'll just pass them around now, check.
Did you see it?
It's 15.4, we're not there yet.
You pass that out. I'll get some smelling salts.
So 15.1, we're looking at the revised structure, September 24, 2024.
Nice, but
What you could.
Can I ask some questions now? So I'm very confusing. So, and what we're trying to do, because we looked at this before, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, is the idea that the ones below, so like below finance and general purposes, there's village events, communications and gala, and would they all report to the finance and general purposes rather than the council? That's right,
Yes.
isn't it? And the other thing I think we were all concerned about was if you were on one of these, did you have to be on all of them?
Yeah.
And have we decided you don't?
I don't think we sorry.
So that's part of today's discussion. So the group census at the moment that I'm going off of is that it's open membership. The only challenge will be, just to be obviously clear, is that tonight is about agreeing the standing committees, which are the first four, because in our standing orders, unless we change them moving forward, in our standing orders, it's the committee that appoints the subcommittee and the working group, not full council. So if obviously we move forward on this item and these four are agreed tonight, the first agenda item on the 23rd for village amenities will be membership and all of the stuff that needs to happen for both allotments as a sub and community centres as a working group, and the same goes for F&GP for village events and communication as a sub and gala parade as a working group. So whoever is interested would need to express their interest and fancy at that meeting, because they might not be at that meeting.
I'm on events, but I'm not on finance and general purpose, so if I was to continue reading, I'd have to let them know.
Yeah. So that would be the agreements if that's what we're doing.
Do we kind of need a proposal about what we're going to accept in terms of committees before we do anything else?
The first thing we need to do is accept this as this recommended structure as the way forward.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to check. Yes,
So
we do that, and then the makeup in terms of subcommittees. Is that something we're looking at now as well? Not the specific people, but how they're made up in terms of.
So that's as obviously clerk as fresh eyes on it. This is the structure that I'm proposing that I think will work better for our council over the next that we may again reviewed. This agenda for me is agreeing that whole setup with subs and working groups, but the membership in terms of reference that will go on the agenda for the committees to decide.
Before you have to be on Finance and General Purpose Committee, to get other committees in there. I'm suggesting that we didn't want to do that.
Do you mind an answer again, Chair? Sorry, it's just easier obviously with me writing it. It's never been, when I've joined, the terms of references over the years have been little bolts on here and there, so this streamlines everything. So this proposal is moving forward fresh, that every single one of them would be open membership.
Okay, so do I have a proposal to accept this from Councillor Hall, seconder, Councillor Sherrod, and all those in favour of accepting this? That's unanimous. Okay. So we review the terms of reference of the committees. 15.2.
Chair, do you mind if I just say a few words on this as well?
Yeah.
Is that okay? I just think because it's been deferred so many times and there's been that many revised versions, it's just easier. So with village amenities and with road safety, I took the existing terms of reference and I set them as the standardisation because there was fairly little tweaks that needed to happen. So they are sort of what I'm proposing to put in place now for village amenities and for road safety, so they'd be as of now. The other two, so financial and general purposes, I've included both current and I've included what the YRCA best practice is. Because it's a financial committee, the YRCA one is a bit more robust in financial control basically of checks that the F&GP committee can be doing on a more regular basis. Similar to the personnel, so we have a current one in place already. And then you've got the YRCA version, which again is more robust as a council to ensure we all know what we're doing as part of the terms of reference. So I couldn't just do a couple of tweaks without changing the principle of the document too much to make it in line with best practice. So I'm quite happy, obviously depending on what council agree, if it is a case that we want to look at a best practice version for us, I can go away and make a draft of that for October, and we can keep what's standing for FMGP and what's standing for personnel for this next month, and then I can bring a YRCA best version draft back, but I wasn't comfortable doing that because it would cut the original too much.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Any thoughts, Susan?
Well, the thing I noticed is that while the staffing committee best practice one is parish council, the finance committee one is council. So it's a larger body than what we are, isn't it?
It's just a generic cover, it's a cover all from my RCA, so I'd obviously adapt it for us and bring the draft back. That's what I mean, I couldn't just put an Ackworth Parish Council tag on the top and present it because it doesn't quite fit.
No. It felt like decisions of some of the committees would go straight to finance committee for agreement rather than coming back.
That's how it reads, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd have to do it in line with our principles as a council, where we've got in our terms of reference, in line with budget, but everything else comes through in our standing orders to council.
There's an example of that, the best practice item 8, I think is what Susan's referring to, that means it goes to FMGP from another committee, which potentially could be really long-winded for us, whereas our own 1912 seems a much better fit.
Yeah, there's bits of both,
so
isn't there?
yeah.
So have we got any proposals for action?
Can I propose that we accept